Alright, so today I'm going to try something a little different. I have in front of me a double drop shot rig that I tied up, about a 1/2 ounce sinker underneath, and I got some gulp minnows that I want to drop shot. Recently I've been trying panfish techniques that I use in the freshwater in salt, and it's been paying off dividends. What's kind of neat is a lot of the panfish you target in freshwater have, you know, those techniques tend to work for the saltwater panfish as well. So I don't think that this should be much different, but we're going to test it out. I'm just going to feed through these gulp minnows. I did go with these because they are kind of tougher. They're harder to rip off the hook per se. If it seems like the fish are ripping them off fairly simple or easy, I'll probably switch over to some like crappie drop shots, like soft plastics that are a little bit tougher. But let's see how this works out. I will say this is probably the heaviest weight I've ever fished on an ultralight rod, but unfortunately I can't really fish the drop shot weights that I have for freshwater because they would just be getting swept away. And all I'm gonna do, so I pitched it out ahead of me, I'm going to, oh, there's a fish already. Oh, I dropped him. But I'm going to slowly drift and jig the drop shot as we drift. I can't believe that we had to hit that quick and I missed it. Oh, there's some hits. Okay, that's not what I wanted, but safe to say the drop shot does work. Little sea bass was not the intended target, but I'd assume with the size baits we're using, we probably will run into some small sea bass like we just did. This honestly is one of my favorite methods for targeting crappie, especially on a windy day. Ooh, oh, dropped them. On a windy day, on a lake when you need a little bit more weight. You know, I do like the float rig, but the float rig's only so good. Oh man. There's a fish, a little bigger. Croaker's my guess. Yep. If we get any decent sized ones, we're gonna keep them. Make a meal. Like that guy will keep. Kobe. So one thing I didn't talk about though, while we're pedaling back to where we want to go, the first bait's about 6 inches off the bottom, the next one's about 18. And what's nice about a drop shot rig is you're covering, you know, a decent amount of water columns, I guess you could call it, opposed to just jigging. You know, on a jig, you're typically fishing straight on the bottom, where with this, and I could see on my depth finder, there's fish on the bottom and there's fish really suspended up, which some of that's bait, those little markings that are higher up, but some of those are other species, flounder, stripers. Oh man, that was actually a decent hit right there. If we hooked into a striper or something of size, probably not going to land it. We are using like super light line, like 4 pound main line and 8 pound mono on the drop shot. There's, oh, I gotta remember, some of these smaller panfish, man, are kind of working their way up bait, so I gotta let them kind of take it a little bit longer. Oh, there we go. Had to take a second for that guy. Oh, what? There's a fish. Little guy. All right. Slid over a little bit into some different water than where we just were to start. Two May sea bass. Wow, that was quick. Two May sea bass in that last spot. That's not a sea bass. Oh, he's off. Nope, he's swimming. I was gonna say, if that was a sea bass, wouldn't have been a big one, but bigger than what those first few. He's gonna be a little too small for my keeping. I typically won't keep them under 12 inches for food. For bait, I try to keep the smallest possible ones, but I've caught some big bass on some bigger. Wow, I think I found a little hole of them up ahead of my kayak. As soon as that hit bottom, I had a hit. There we go. Just had to slide over a little bit. Oh no, sea bass followed us. I'd assume this method will work real well wreck fishing with, you know, bigger tackle and heavier weights, but maybe the next time I get out on a wreck, I'll give the drop shot a chance. What's crazy is the sea bass are nipping the tails off, but I haven't changed my two original baits yet because it doesn't seem like it makes that big of a difference. Like that fish hit was on the original pieces. Ah, no. Don't want you. Wow. That croaker hit hard. At least I think it's a croaker. Could be a flounder, a little flounder, maybe. No, croaker. He absolutely smoked that one, man. He'll be in the eating size category. There's a fish. Sea bass, maybe? No, croaker. Passing over some fish now, but my line's kind of slacking behind it, so I probably won't see these hits until there's a hit. I was gonna say just until we slide back a little bit. It's funny how it works like that. It's like video game fishing. And I hate to be staring at my screen, but it definitely makes a difference when you know where the fish are sitting opposed to when you're just blindly drifting. And see, that's how we have it hooked, just right through the nose. The higher one up, I have threaded on a little bit up the hook just to prevent it getting stolen. But I do believe by hooking it through the nose, you get a better presentation. It sits more natural in the water column. And the nice thing about these split tails is there's just enough wiggle in them that when you're just kind of dragging it with the current, I do think it catches their eye. getting back to the fish here in a second. I kind of drifted off. The wind kind of is slightly pushing me off where I want to go. There he is. Man, this is so much fun. Tell you what, not many people probably drop shotting for croakers, but on light tackle it is fun. The wild thing is I guarantee you I'm gonna get a handful of people hating on me targeting this species, but to me, you know, you do the same things over and over again, it does get old, even in fishing. I know you could think all you want that fishing every day wouldn't get boring, but it sure does if you're doing the same types of fishing, same areas every day. You know, like anything, just kind of gets old. That's why it's kind of nice to switch things up every once in a while. And with today's tide, it's not like I would have been able to go anywhere different and have a better bite. And I don't know about you guys, I like catching fish. Don't get me wrong, being on the water is fun, but you know, catching fish is even more fun in my opinion than just taking a boat ride or a kayak ride. Little croaker killing drag.